You must probably came across of what virtualization is. And really, what is the benefit of using virtualization? In a simple term, virtualization is the process of creating a virtual version of something. Let's say we want to create a server, a storage device, network, or an operating system. For our case, we are going to use UTM Hypervisor in order to create a virtual machine or a virtual operating system running under Mac Silicon Apple ARM64 processor. There are other hypervisor softwares in the market such as VirtualBox and VMware. And briefly, the benefit of using virtualization is that you can resource optimization, increased flexibility, improve disaster recovery, enhance security, and many more. So now let's get started and create our own virtual machine using UTM Hypervisor. For this tutorial, I am using my MacBook Pro M1, and you can use this method on any other Apple Silicon product you own or you have. First, I'm going to type UTM Mac on my favorite search engine, and then we're going to click on download, and we will wait for a few minutes or seconds for download to finish. Once the download is finished, I'm going to click on the file. I'm going to drop and drag UTM application in our applications folder. Since I have already installed UTM on my system, I'm going to skip this step. Next, I'm going to type for UTM, and as you can see, I have now UTM application opened on my system. Most probably you won't see this because I have already created few virtual machines for the test purpose. However, you don't have to worry and you can only ignore it. The next step is to download the Ubuntu server ARM64 or operating system from our favorite search engine. We are going to type Ubuntu 20.04.5 LTS 64 ARM, and then we press enter, and then here we're going to select our Ubuntu server version, and if we come here, we can see here we have 64-bit ARM server install image. We're gonna click on it, and then we are going to wait for download to finish. Great. Once the download is finished successfully, I'm gonna go back to our UTM application, and then I'm going to click on this icon, the plus icon, or I can simply go to File, New, and then from here I will select Virtualize, and I will select the operating system. For our case, it's Linux, and then from here I'm going to select the operating system or the ISO image we have just downloaded. I'm gonna click on browse, select the Ubuntu 20.4.5. I will click continue. Next, we have to specify the memory and the CPU. I'm just gonna leave the memory as a default, and I will change my total CPU cores to 4. Next, I'm gonna click continue. And for the storage, I will leave it as it is. I will click continue. And here we can use the shared directory option. This will allow you to move files and folders from your Mac to your virtual machine, and I will leave it as default. I will click continue, and then here I will name my virtual machine. I will call it Ubuntu 20.4.5, which is my Ubuntu server version, and I will click save. Once you saved, all you have to do, you have to select the virtual machine and then click on this icon to run your image. Okay, now we're gonna select the first option. You can use arrow up and down on your keyboard to make selection, and then press enter. Next, we are going to choose preferred language. For this case, I'm going to use English. I will press enter again. And then here, the server is asking whether we want to update to the newer installer or we can continue without an update. In this case, I will choose update to the new installer. And then again, I will select the language for my keyboard. I will click enter. I will click enter again. Here, the network is assigned to our server. I will click enter again. And then here, if you have a proxy address, you can use. I don't have any proxy address, so I will leave it as it is, and then I will press enter again and enter again. And then here I will use tab key to move down, or you can use your arrow up and down on your keyboard, and then I will press enter again. And here also I will leave it as it is, and then I will press enter again and then select continue. And here you have to enter your name. I will call it super user, and my server is Ubuntu server 20.4.5. I'll pick up the name again. I will call it super user again, and then I will select a password and re-enter the password, and then I will say okay. And here I won't change anything because it's asking if you want to upgrade to Ubuntu Pro. I say continue, and then here I want to install SSH server as well, so I can access my server remotely with highest security. And then I say done, and then enter again. Now we are going to wait until the installation is going to finish, and then we are going to complete the installation accordingly. If you see this page, it means you have successfully finished the installation. Now you should not reboot or restart your virtual machine. Instead, you have to power off your virtual machine using UTM application by clicking on this button. Now we are going to click on OK. And now we are going to close this window. And here, as you can see, we have this to clear our image from our virtual machine. I'm gonna click on clear. And then once we clicked on clear, we're gonna run the machine or turn on the machine once again. Now the virtual machine is starting to boot. And if you see this page, it means you have successfully installed your Ubuntu server on your Apple Silicon. So all you have to do now is use your username and the password which you have created previously to enter the server. So I'm gonna type in super user and followed with my password, and voila, now you have a server on your Mac running, and you can use this server, for example, if you want to run any application on it or a website, or you can use it as a normal server. If you wish to enter your server as a root user or the super power user, all you have to do is type in sudo and enter your password. And if you see the root at Ubuntu server, it means you are now entered as a super user. I'm going to clear everything. If you wish to install graphical user interface for your Ubuntu server, all you have to do is install the ubuntu-desktop on your server. To do so, you have to type in sudo apt. First, I'm going to update and upgrade our server. Then I press enter. We're going to wait for the task to finish. We say yes to continue or Y. And then once we have updated and upgraded our server, since you are logged in as a root or a super user, you don't have to type sudo. So you can just simply type apt install ubuntu desktop and then press enter. We say yes to continue, and we are going to wait for the installation of our graphical user interface or our desktop to be completed. Great. Once the installation is completed, I'm going to clear everything and I'm going to exit from our server, and then I'm going to power off our virtual machine using UTM application by clicking on this icon, and then I will press OK, and then I'm going to go and reopen our virtual machine, or we run it again. We wait for few seconds or minutes for virtual machine to boot up, and as you can see, we have successfully installed the Ubuntu Graphical User Interface Desktop. Now all you have to do is go and enter your password, and now you have a operating system running on your Apple Silicon or your MacBook Pro with M1 processor. I'm going to click next, and then done. I hope that you learned something from this video, and in my next video I'm going to show you how to install WordPress on your Ubuntu server or on your virtual machine on Apple Silicon ARM64 processor. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.